All right, so 6 years ago, I came out of that door right there, with a hope and a dream. What's going on, guys? Big up to HECZ here, coming at you with a very, very special vlog for me today. Today I woke up at 6 a.m. and I decided to go on the drive that used to be my routine every single morning. I made a blog about it. I vlogged the whole time. I recorded myself, but the audio was so bad that I decided to still use some of the footage, as you'll see throughout this video, but I wanted to redo it because I didn't want the message to be lost, and I didn't want you guys to miss out on you know, some of the information that I wanted to give you as to why today is Optic Day. So today when I woke up, I drove from this house to my old townhome, which is where I used to live at the time of my previous work in 2009. And every single day I would wake up at a certain time, I think it was like 7 o'clock, and I would be out the door by 7:40 to be at work at 7:40. Like it was a short drive, but it was the longest drive ever. Because every single day that I got up and I put a suit and tie on and I went to work at a cubicle where some people liked me, some people didn't, and just I was a bad worker for the last 3 months that I was there, and it was because I was daydreaming every single day of things that I wanted to do at that time. And if I could go back, or if I could pay whatever amount of money I could to get back that Rolodex calendar that I had. You know, I don't know if you guys work in an office, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't work in an office, there used to be these calendars that weren't no bigger than this, that opened up, and it was like, they were like really thick. It was every single day, and it was just like a calendar for you to write down things to do, things, you know, just a schedule, right? Because I guess iPhones existed back then, but not at the level that they work now. And I remember writing down thoughts, and I remember writing down things that I wanted to do instead of what I was doing that day at work, right? One of the things that I remember very, very vividly in 2009 was, at the beginning of 2009 was like, at the time, Grizz had like 50,000 subscribers, and I known him from Call of Duty 2, but I wasn't that good of friends with him, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. But when I saw his success on YouTube, I'm like, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna get in contact with Game Informer, okay? I'm gonna get in contact with Game Informer somehow, some way, and then I'm gonna make them do an interview on Grizz. At the time, Grizz was the end-all be-all. He was revolutionizing montages. He was doing that. It was entertaining to watch. And he had 50,000 subscribers. And that is still, to this day, a ton of people, right? It's a stadium. So I wanted people to understand. I wanted to get it out there, right? That there's this new wave of video game entertainment coming. And I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be Grizz's his agent, in a sense. And the first thing that I was gonna do is I was gonna get on the phone with Game Informer, get the interview set up, and then approach Grizz about me being his agent. And as always, as I always do, I didn't just, that was like step one, but I was also thinking of step 2 and 3 and what was next after that. Even before this whole thing like started, even before I went out and contacted Game Informer, I said, all right, we're gonna get the interview done first, then I'm gonna be his agent, then we're gonna figure out a way for him to every single day at 6 o'clock do or go somewhere on the internet where people can watch him live. People can watch him play. We'll call it the 0 hour. We'll use one of the Z's for Grizz and the 0 hour and whatever. And obviously that never came to me. But for 3 months, I was scheming and planning and daydreaming of things that I wanted to do other than what I was doing then, right? Judith was pregnant at the time of today, right? My daughter was born in November, so actually maybe not that pregnant. August, September, October, November. So she was about to burst. That's all I know, right? Like 3 months or whatever. I had to figure out what I was gonna do before my daughter came into this world, right? I always say that Judith was like 9 months pregnant because in my head, that's the mentality that I had. It was an urgent thing. It was something that was like right there. It needed to be done there and then. I needed to find a job. I needed to do something, right? And I said on that day, on this day 6 years ago, it's time. It's time to just get out of the rat race. It's time for me to just use whatever little savings that we have now to jump on this and do it, right? And Judith, as I don't know why she was so crazy, but she let me do it. And I knew then, and I knew then what I know now, right? There was nothing that was gonna stop me from making a living the way that I wanted to make a living. Making a living off of something that I love doing. There was no longer going to be a time where I would have to wake up at a certain time to go answer to somebody else. And I gave it my all. You know, I gave it my all from the get-go. It was all about, and this is the crazy part, guys. All right, I want you to understand this, right? For 2 years, the YouTube gaming content thing didn't exist as far as paying, as far as getting paid for it. At that time, no individual channel could get partnered to make money off of the videos that they were providing. At the end of 2010, I think, is when we got the partnership with Machinima. So think about that, right? For a whole year, I just worked on building an audience so that I could get sponsorships, and that was gonna be my money. I remember at one point when we were in the middle of all this, and Judith's like, he's like, hey, I know that you're doing this, but we gotta have some money. We gotta make some money. So I started to paint Xbox faceplates and customizing. Like, I remember it was a flat fee, $40. $40 will get you a faceplate. You don't have to, like, I bought $1 ones, like Redskin ones, and like they were just baseball ones that I found at wholesale that weren't selling, so they were selling them for $1. So I would buy like 100 of them, 100 faceplates, and then I would just paint over them and customize them with whoever's name that was. And for $40 you can get one. For $40 I was selling my art, and I knew deep down that I was like selling out. It was the first time ever to this day that I felt that I sold out, because my art to me is very valuable, and for me to just give it out that cheap was just me sacrificing my own ego and my own everything so I can bring something to the table at our house while I was trying to build something. So I used to do that, and I used to remember like having fun doing it, but also like when I had to let them go, I would feel really bad because I was letting them go for so cheap. And I did it. I had a good business going. You know, business was good. I was doing, I think like at the time I was doing like 20 to 30 faceplates a week. So money was coming in, and it was good, but it was still something that I wanted to get away from. I could not see myself selling my art that cheap for that long. But it was a necessity, right? It was something I needed to do. I swallowed my pride, said F you to my ego, and I just kept on pushing because I knew there was something was gonna be there. The second the Machinima era came along, I saw my good friend Hutch. He hit me up. He's like, hey, I'm now partnered with Machinima. You should apply to be a partner because I'm making money off of this. The second that I heard I am making money off of videos that we had been making for 2 years without getting any sort of return besides like sponsorship dollars here and there, it was the craziest thing to me, right? I was like, oh my god, like this is wild. I'm doing that. That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna make sure that I do a good job at it. I'm gonna do that anyway. I got a little bit too far along into that, but I just wanted to give you guys a little background as to what was going through my head 6 years ago today, and in the subsequent months that happened after that, to let you guys know, and to maybe give you a little bit of a silver lining, right? I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to do, but I am telling you that if you're unhappy, just take the first step towards something that's gonna make you happy. All right. Don't do what I did. It was reckless, especially because I had a baby on the way. But in my mind, every single day that I drove to work, I had this feeling of waiting for something. Picture, if you're at work or if you're at school, picture this, right? You know that feeling that you get where you just look at the calendar and you're like 3 more days and I'm gonna have this 4-day weekend, right? For the people that work, you know, you have a weekend that's coming up. You're off on Monday, so you would schedule and use vacation days on Thursday and Friday so you can extend that weekend as far as you could. It was that sort of wait that I had it was just me waiting for something to happen, me me, it is an undescribable feeling that I can pinpoint and describe to you so accurately. I know I just said an oxymoron, but it's what it is. If I had time to describe that feeling in my throat and in my chest that I was just waiting for every single day as I was driving to work and seeing everybody driving in the same direction every single day, recognizing cars that you saw the day before, patterns in traffic that you saw the day before, and waiting for that vacation, I don't feel that anymore, right? Because I'm living it. But like, listen to your gut, right? I'm not telling you to quit, because for 2 years, as I said, I was making YouTube content when I got home from work, all right? I didn't sacrifice what I had to do as my priorities. I sacrificed sleep instead, right? And I love sleeping. I'm an old man now, but I've always loved sleeping. I would sacrifice sleep to do videos. I would sacrifice sleep to get games in. I would sacrifice sleep to get content. And ultimately, I can't say that I regret doing what I did. I don't want to go into this long rant, longer than I've already been speaking, but if you're waiting for something to happen, it's not going to. You're gonna have to take the first step there. Don't give up your priorities, your responsibilities, or anything else that might affect your life. But what you should do is you should add something else to that. All right, sacrifice your time, sacrifice whatever it is that you need to sacrifice, and just do it. Take the step, take a leap of faith. I can tell you that. And look, even if nothing comes from it, you will still be able to say in your dying days that you at least gave it a chance and not wonder whether or not you should have or what would have happened if you did. Spoke too much. Thank you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Happy Optic Day. Until next time, guys, as always, this has been Optic HECZ. Do not leave without leaving a like, unless you're gonna leave the way I left that place.